Since the top was now done, I flipped it upside down onto some sawhorses so I had a work surface to build the legs. I made this quick jig that allowed me to make a tenon while I glued up the leg. I squared it up, clamped it around the center piece, and pushed the two outside pieces up to it while I glued them all together. Not a lot to see here, just using plenty of glue, spreading evenly, and then getting even clamping pressure. Once dried and after I test fit all the legs, I smoothed all the sides with my trusty Stanley fork. With all the legs in place, I measured my final height for the legs, referencing from the tabletop. My intent was to make the workbench the height of my table saw so I could use it as an outfeed table, but since I didn't have my table saw at this point, I just went with 35 inches. I also marked all my legs so that I put them all back in the same spots. My miter saw couldn't cut all the way through the legs, so I finished them off with my handsaw. To prevent them from splintering, I put a chamfer on the bottom of all the legs with my great-grandfather's old block plane. If you don't have a low-angle block plane in your hand plane collection yet, I highly recommend getting one since they are super useful and super versatile tools. Alright. Next, with the legs in place, I marked out and cut the inner pieces of my laminated rails. I decided to cut to fit instead of measuring so I could get the tightest fit possible. I let the long piece of the rail overhang each leg just a bit so that I could cut that to fit as well. My intention was to make this whole bench with all joinery and no screws or fasteners, but since I didn't have time to wait on another glue up, I screwed the rails together after gluing. But really these are more of a clamping method than a fastener, so I'll let myself off on a technicality. Once I test fit the rails, I marked the location for my lap joints. I then put a flat bottom blade in my table saw, set the height to the thickness of my rails, used my miter gauge to make my two end cuts first, and then slowly and steadily remove the material from the middle. Lap joints are a very simple but incredibly strong joinery method that's, in my opinion, a good place to start if you want to get into doing some more traditional joinery. Now, a small disclaimer, this is a messy and slow process, but I found the strength they gave to the workbench frame to be well worth it. Eventually, I did find myself smart enough to switch to my dado stack, which made the whole process a heck of a lot faster. With the lap joints cut and the rails dry fit, I temporarily screwed them into place. Then, with some help from my dad and my brothers, we removed the frame and flipped it onto the ground.
Ready? Somebody do something. You gotta do it out of the way. Woo! Then you clean the floor off right here. Ready? Can you clean the floor?
We then flipped the top onto the frame.
Now, flip. Tabletop. Let's go. Go sit back down. Go. Watch that. Maybe I need this thing seated. It's gonna be tricky. Okay. I'm in. This right there. I'm in. Alright. Now let's jump on. Woo! Hooray! I'm gonna hitch. There you go. Check the beam recommendation.
My dad helped me lift the ends of the top onto some sawhorses so I could unseat it from the frame. I then removed the rails, added plenty of glue, and then reattached them, again coasting by on my screws as a clamping method loophole. Next, I applied plenty of glue to my tenons and mortises. I applied plenty of glue to my tenons and mortisi, and then removed the supports from the ends of my bench and dropped it back onto the frame. Once that final assembly was done, it was time for some finishing touches, starting with cutting the ends of the top flush. I cut as deep as I could with the circular saw and then finished it off with my handsaw. Also, you can see in this shot that off camera I added some shims to the mortise and tenons that really helped to tighten up the joints. I also smoothed out all the edges and the joinery using a combination of hand planes and sanders. And finally, to finish up the bench, I coated it with some boiled linseed oil. I still need to flatten the top, so this finish is really just temporary, but I wanted to seal the lumber mainly so that the top won't warp. And with that, my largest and most difficult project was done. So that brings us to the end of this project. I don't know that I could be more happy with the way that this turned out. This workbench is the culmination of maybe a year of planning, you know. Before I even had this shop, I was already looking up videos and doing research. A workbench was just something I've wanted for so long, and I'm so happy with the result. Now, if we're going to discuss cost for just a moment, I believe the lumber for this workbench, I don't have all the receipts in front of me, cost about $110, so really not that bad. But one thing, I usually wouldn't mention this, but I have to factor it in. This thing did take about a gallon of glue. This was basically full when I started this project, so that's about $20 that you also have to factor in for making this workbench. Now, it's not completely finished as of just yet. There's a few little things that need to be done. First off, the top still needs to be flattened. It's smoothed out, but it's not flat yet. So that needs to be done. I also want to build some storage, some shelves and some drawers and whatnot in the frame under here. You know, that'd be very convenient. I want to put some dog holes. Not too many, but a few, so I can use some holdfasts or some bench dogs or some plane stops, whatever else. But the main thing that I want to do is a leg vise over on my main side over there. And I've already got all the materials for that ready to go. I just got to go ahead and put it together. So that video really shouldn't take too long. Other than that, this video is pretty much a wrap. So thank you guys so very much. I appreciate you guys for watching. And if you liked the video, if you appreciated that, then please go ahead and hit that like button. Or if you're really daring and really cool, go ahead and punch down on that subscribe button so you'll never miss a release from Jackal Woodworking. And if you like this video, please go ahead and check out some of my other project videos that I've got. But thank you guys once again for watching. Hope y'all are having a great day. We'll see you next time. But thank you guys once again for watching. Hope y'all are having a great day. Thanks for watching. I said that already.